footballs.
He's got 3 bollocks. That's how much of a man he is. He's got 3 bollocks to fail in Africa. Jesus. And the BBC classes him as a woman. That's why this problem's not going away, because the women who are against it don't know who the enemy is. The enemy is not the mentally ill men. It's half the female population.
So the BBC Women's Football of the Year is a bloke called Barbara Banda. He's an African man who pretends he's a woman. He's not even allowed to he wasn't allowed to compete at the Africa Cup of Women's Cup of Nations because he is a man. And the BBC made him the BBC Women's Footballer of the Year. And the second one was I can't remember the name now, it's a Colombian transgender economist or something. I don't know if you know what her name is.
I can't remember her name.
Who basically specialises in identifying the fact that palm trees are transgender.
Yeah.
Or some other such bollocks. And she's in the top 100 achieving women of the year, along with about 86 black and brown people, basically. So, I mean, the veil's lifted, isn't it? At the BBC.
Only for their being captured under this ideology. The BBC don't hate women. The people who pick these women to go on the list would have been women who work for the BBC and their judges and stuff like that. So let's talk about the African footballer first. If you fail a testosterone test in Africa, that's wide open to bribery, corruption. Half the systems don't work, their testing systems don't work, and you fail that test, then you're not just a man, you're a man's man.
You've got very high testosterone levels.
He's got 3 bollocks. That's how much of a man he is. He's got 3 bollocks to fail in Africa. Jesus. And the BBC classes him as a woman.
Not just a woman, the BBC Women's Footballer of the Year.
Well, because he's special, because he's got 3 bollocks. Have you ever met a woman with 3 bollocks? That's why he's won the Footballer of the Year. And when he's dribbling with the ball, he's got 4 balls on him. That's why he's won it. He's special. And then the Colombian economic queer professor, whatever she is, talking about queer in economics and palm trees and crap like that.
Have you seen a picture of him?
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, he looks like a lorry driver. He's got he's got big beefy forearms.
Yeah, big tits, big fake tits.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, he had a low-cut top on the pitch, right?
I wouldn't fancy my chances in a dark alley with him. I really wouldn't. I reckon he could beat the crap out of me.
Well,
quite decent.
Don't be misogynistic around him then. Now, why have the BBC done this? This is all gender ideology. So the BBC do not hate women. And I know that the writer, J.K. Rowling, said something funny online that the BBC should... It'd be easier for the BBC to go around women's houses and just spit in the face.
She said, it's more time efficient. J.K. Rowling, I love her now, because she's not... When she first started, I know you don't like her, but when she first started... She was kind of coy about it and saying, I love transgender. And now she's just all just bastards. But she said it's more time efficient for the BBC doing it this way than going door to door to spit directly in women's faces.
I found that very, very funny. That was very funny from her.
Yes.
Now, the BBC, the people who've picked these women on that will be women. This is a female problem.
This is a bit I don't get.
Yeah, I'm sick of people blaming mentally ill men for this problem. Mentally ill men are mentally ill men. They got invited into women's changing rooms and sports and academia and into all these female-only spaces. They were invited into them by women.
Yes.
So this is a civil war within feminism. You've got some feminists who are called progressive feminists who agree with all this, and anyone can be a woman, and he's a beautiful woman, and he's got the most feminine penis I've ever seen. And then you've got the other feminists who we call TERFs, we still don't like men, and we don't like trans women, not because they're women and not because they're trans, because they're really men. So they dislike trans women because they're really men. Now, they need to sort it out between themselves. It's not, our men can't get involved in this because we would naturally go on the side of women. but there's women on both sides.
Yes.
So men don't know which side to take. Women need to grow a pair, excuse the pun, need to grow a pair, just like J.K. Rowling is doing, so give us some credit there.
Yeah.
Women need to sort this out, and women need to educate other women on this, and the women need to change. And once women come to a consensus, men will stop mentally ill men entering your spaces.
Yeah.
That's our job.
So you think once men get the support from women to stop it, that's when it'll stop?
Once women have come to a consensus that they don't want this, men will do the rest of it.
Yeah.
Because you can't expect a 4'2" woman to go up to a 6' transgender woman in the toilet and go, you out. Especially if they're on their own. That's scary.
Yeah, they are scary. These characters.
But then that's when it's down to men. But at the moment, women are sending competing messages to men. Because some women we meet go, it's fine, it's wonderful, be kind, femininity is open to everybody, and other women are going, this is evil, why have we got mentally ill men in our space? It's like, well, you just need to sort it out between yourselves, because you've been telling us for 100 years you don't need us to sort your problems out. So sort it out between yourselves. When you've done it, let us know, and then we know what to do then. This is a female problem.
I think it is, and I have this argument with my wife a lot, because I always say this is women encouraging this.
It is.
Saying it. And I remember, I think I told you, we went down to the Labour women's meeting just before COVID, and it was basically saying getting trans women out of sports or whatever. There was a mob outside of activists, some trannies, but a lot of women.
Yes.
And then when I came out towards the end, I had to go help the women to keep these people away. When we finally left, a woman with a bloke was walking past, and she pointed at me and said, "He was in there, that bastard. He was in there, supporting those bastards who hate trans people." And it was a woman. I was like, "What the frick is wrong with you?" Because I thought at that point I was only creepy men who would be.
Yeah, no.
But it wasn't. There were a lot of women protesting outside.
This has got nothing to do with mentally ill men. There's always been mentally ill men. There's been men out there who'd always liked to dress up as women, call themselves barber and use the toilets, female toilets. They've always existed, but they never dared do it because of the consequences. Yeah. But women invited them in. Yeah. Not all women, but a significant proportion of women invited them in. They caused this problem. And other women now, instead of highlighting that and blaming their other half of the women, they blame mentally ill men. That's why this problem's not going away, because the women who are against it don't know who the enemy is. The enemy is not the mentally ill men. It's half the female population.